Do not be fearful of sharing with your team and your leaders when the time is right, before the closing. Like, I've seen people, and it never goes good. I've seen business owners not tell their team until after the close of the sale. And that does not go very well at all. Hey, welcome to the GuideLight podcast. I'm Jason Trent, your host today. And today's topic is about how to lead your team through an exit without fear or confusion. I'm really passionate about this one just because I've, having walked through multiple, transitions and exits and sales and acquisitions. This is one that I'm very passionate about because I really care about the teams in all these. And I know as a business owner, you care about your team, but sometimes whenever you start walking into these, transitions, people want to be very secretive about it. And there's wisdom. Like, it's not something that you want to just go broadcast. I know a lot of business owners get fearful of someone finding out, and so they don't want to tell their team, and they don't want to share too much with their team. And again, there's some wisdom on what to share and when to share. So there's definitely a strategy there. But what I really want to kind of encourage you to just get out of your system is, do not be fearful of sharing with your team and your leaders when the time is right, before the closing. I've seen people, and it never goes good. I've seen business owners not tell their team until after the close of the sale, and that does not go very well at all. So, and I got to tell this one story, and I know so many of my stories are about me. This one's not. This is about a stranger I met on a plane, and so I was flying. I was flying somewhere, and there's a lady sitting next to me, and we just started talking. And I told her, what I did. I told her I was a, M&A advisor with GuideLight Legacy, and she started talking to me about her own business, not her business, but she was a part of a business where the partners were selling their firm. And so I just started inquiring of her, how'd it go, and this and that. She said, well, it almost didn't go well. The partners did share that they were looking to sell, and so this was very good on the partners. And so they were very transparent, and this is why this is a good story. They were transparent to where they needed to be, but whenever they talked about the firm they were going to sell to, it started a little commotion. There was almost a little mutiny. She was sharing with me. She said some of the key leaders and the people that were doing the work, they had such a passion about the work. They felt and they had heard that this other company, there really wasn't an alignment. And they had already said, if this goes through, we're probably going to bolt a lot of the key members. And thankfully, they didn't keep quiet. Thankfully, they shared with the leaders, and the leaders were so grateful, and they said, well, we're not going to sell to that person. And so communication is key, because if those leaders hadn't have spoken up, if that team had not spoken up, that could have ended really badly. And she told me they sold to a firm that was so aligned, and they were so happy. And yeah, she complained a little bit about transition. Everybody complains about it, but she was, the point is the business and the mission is going to survive and thrive because of clear, open communication, and they didn't allow fear to hinder, the process. So that's something really important. And that could be a whole episode in itself, but I just wanted to really share that story because I think it brought it home. So in that example, you really saw those business owners honoring their team, and they weren't just a line item. They were honoring their team. They brought them in. They communicated, well, and that's a huge aspect of these transitions, of making sure that it's affecting way more than just you. It's affecting your team. It's affecting your client. It affects even your vendors. I mean, the people involved, and sometimes I've seen business owners not really think about people that are impacted go way beyond just you and your family, and even your team, and even your clients. And the interesting thing is, and I'll be transparent, I didn't think about vendors too much early on in my career until some really wise people leaned into me, and I made some changes to where I tried to really elevate people that served me, because that's what they were doing, and it impacts them. And so the whole communication piece with vendors is really important as a business owner, because again, these transitions are hard on everyone, and we need to understand, no matter what business you're in, it's a people business. And you really need to take people serious in that, and honor them, and especially what they've done to bring you to this point, to be able to sell, to have an asset to sell, so you can thrive onto your next chapter. And so everyone that's taken part in that, I think it's very important to communicate well, and thank them and be grateful to them and show that in the transition and even post transition. So that's the people part of this is sometimes I've seen it doesn't get highlighted enough, or they just relegate it to their employees to some degree. They don't even think of their clients sometimes. But anyways, just want to talk about that, the vendor piece, because that's just something I learned a lot and grew a lot in that, and just trying to take everybody serious when it comes to these things. So as a leader in your organization, not just you, it could be other key leaders, is really important to understand is, you're the emotional thermostat. And it's something that all leaders, if they have direct reports, they need to understand they are the emotional thermostat for all things that happen. And one of the things we've really encouraged on our team, through our transitions, like saying, make sure we're having conversations. And that's the way you do that. How are you going to be able to gauge where people are emotionally? That's making sure you have an open door policy that's engaging in one-on-ones or small groups. If you talk to your team in a large group of 5, 6, or even sometimes people have these huge meetings, and people aren't really talk up. You're not going to be able to gauge where people are emotionally, because you got to address that. You got to make sure you talk to them about that they feel heard and their cares and their concerns are addressed. And that's one of the things we've always tried to take great pride in, and making sure that our team is heard. We do the one-on-ones. We ask them hard questions. When we don't just say, "What are you thinking?" We walk them through ideas of William Bridges wrote a book about transitions. I've done a podcast on that, and walking them through their endings and the neutral zone and the new beginnings. Like, those things are very important to walk people through, and you've got to give time and attention and bandwidth to that so you can gauge where are they emotionally, address their needs. And too often, especially in a larger organization, I know it's harder. If you've got 50 plus employees, sometimes it's hard even if you've just got 10 or 12, but you've got to figure out a strategy and make sure your team feels heard, they feel valued, and you address some of those concerns as best you can. In some of these, you can't always put out every fire or make everyone hold hands and sing Kumbaya. It's to the best of your ability as a leader. That's your job, and you really want to make sure you have a strategy for that, and put a lot of time and attention to that to make sure these transitions go well. So one of the things that we talk about in a lot of our advisory work is leaving well. And leaving well, or I'll even say transitioning well. I've seen it way too often when a leader doesn't transition well or leave well. Because sometimes, if you're selling your business, you're staying on for a while, right? And there's so many variables around that of doing it well, because your team is going to feed off of that. You've led your team for decades probably, and how you leave or how you transition is of the utmost importance. I've seen people just ride off into the sunset and just never come back and talk. And that's just, you create such a wake of hurt and confusion and pain and emotion when you do it that way. We just encourage people to think that through. And especially if you stay, with my company, I've stayed on for a season, and now we're transitioning to a regional branch. But for the first time in my life, I'm not the owner, I'm not the president, I'm not the leader. And I'll be honest with you, I love it. It's been very freeing to kind of nail down this role. But I've had to transition well. And a matter of fact, I told my team, our leadership team especially, as we're merging into this branch, I had to apologize to them because there were certain aspects I think I wasn't. I think I surprised myself because it shocked me a little bit, is I wasn't transitioning as well as I thought I was going to. And the Lord did a great work on me. It took me, unfortunately, I hate to say it, probably took me almost 8 or 9 months of walking through this, to where God just really helped me recognize, Jason, this is all on you. This isn't about anything else. And it was funny because in our business, we've acquired, I think, up to 20 some odd businesses in my tenure there over the last 17 years or so. And I was telling my leadership team, for so many years, we have been the acquirers, and we're coaching and leading people through transitions, and leaders are exiting or moving into different roles. And now we're the ones doing that with our new branch merger. We're starting to feel what I've seen other people feel in all my decades of leadership. And I got excited about it. It's like, wow, this is such a great opportunity to learn. My team wanted to shoot me, I think, because it's been a little, there's been some friction there for them. But I said, what a great opportunity to really help form us as leaders and help us to really get humble and just say, God, what are you doing with this? And what do you want me to learn out of it? And I'll tell you, when I did that, it was like a 180. My eyes were open. And so leaving well, transitioning well as a leader, I just really, really want to encourage you to definitely get some outside help, because sometimes people will challenge you. If you're the leader, sometimes your team's not always going to challenge you as hard as you need to be. And so get someone to speak into you, to walk through those things. Obviously, take it to the Lord, but obviously, we weren't meant to do this journey alone. Make sure you have some trusted colleagues or confidence that you can kind of walk through and talk through some of these things, because that's how you're going to end it well. That's how you're going to transition well. Well, I really hope you found this valuable. Like I said, there's so many aspects to this that I know I just probably didn't cover them all. But I tell you what, there's an assessment that we've developed that I think you'll find very interesting. If you'll go to the description below, click on it, I think it'll open your eyes to some areas that maybe you weren't aware of. And it's free. Just go down there, click it, and check it out. And also, if you found this valuable, if you like it, click like, subscribe. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening to us from. Click on those things, and great. Hey, we're happy for your time. We're thankful for your time, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.